It's another manifestation of unhealthiness, right? If you can't love yourself, I mean, you can't stick up for yourself. You don't know how to be assertive. If you can't say no, then your yes has no value. It's not really kindness. You can't even do kindness if you can't. It's not kind. It's desperate people pleasing. So the kamaycha is a prerequisite for loving another person. You have to first have self-respect and you have the ability to do that in a healthy way. Then you could genuinely, really be loving and kind and so on to another.
Hav.
What?
Give. What does that means to give?
Hav means to give. Yeah, I mentioned that before. Real. The definition of love in Torah is giving, not receiving. You can't accept yourself when you mess up. You cannot accept others. You can. That's what he mentioned in that video. I had to add it in because he brings it out so good with so many examples. Okay.
What about Tav, or
What?
like Tav, like a taiva?
What about it?
Related to Ava? A taiva is related to
Want and desire.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is understood in that Ava is sometimes translated as a desire to be close, so it could be related.
That's I'm wondering if desire and a taiva is something that you want to get. Something
Not
you
only,
receive.
no, it means you want something, you yearn for something. It's going
If
into
if you want something, then you want to get it.
right, but you want it, or you could yearn to be close to someone. You could yearn to be close to or to be someone. It could be.
It's still something that you want to
It's a
get.
flexible thing. Not always. It is. We have it in Tanya these days a lot. It's going through different layers of different kinds of love. I'm not going to go right into now. I want to do another good story. The place where the Beis Hamikdash was built, it's the Medrash says why it was chosen. It was once
Amen.
two brothers. No, earlier than that. Before the flood, or maybe before Avram, it's in the time of Noach or something. It's also Avram. But there was two brothers who one was rich and but no family. The other one had a big family, but struggled financially, and they each felt bad for each other. So they wanted to help each other and cheer each other up, and they should feel better. So they each thought of trying to secretly at night give the other one some bundles of grain, a big bundle of grain. They should, when you find the extra money in your bank account, you know that feeling. So you should all know it. I don't know, it doesn't, right? But similar to that's how it was those days. There was no bank accounts, right? You come in your field and there's an extra bundle. It's a very good feeling, right? So they wanted to do it, but they didn't want. They also wanted to be sensitive and not like you should see. I'm giving it to him. That might make him uncomfortable. So in the middle of the night, they were each going and giving each other a grain, a big bundle of grain from their field to the other one to help each other feel better. But in the morning, everything added up. It was very strange. They weren't missing any grain, and something was strange. After many nights, one time they met in the middle on the mountain, on the top. They realized what's going on, and they embraced, and they understood what each one they were trying to, you know, help the other one. And Hashem said, "I want my home to be in this, to be built in this place." This was the future side of the Beis Hamikdash, and became the portal, the spiritual portal for divinity into this in this world. What?
True story?
Yeah.
Where's it from?
The Medrash.
Where are these two
It's
buffers
quoted in
now?
Medrash. Where are they buried? What's their names? I don't know.
Yeah, but
According to the puppet shows, one of them was a real person and one was a puppet. The small one, the puppet theater version. But I don't know, they were brothers, but
why aren't they like more known?
the actual people?
No, like first of all, the actual people and
And the story.
Tell the story. Yeah.
I can't take responsibility for which madrashim you checked and review and which.
It's like how they teach you in kindergarten that they cross the ocean or the sea. You didn't from Adam and Sarah.
Okay, let's review what we did today. We did so far. We did in this discussion. We did like four nice insights, right? The kamaycha.
The dash.
No. First we did a technical one. What's the word kamaycha? We had four major.
Oh, the Rashi one.
First of all, with Ra, who even the competition.
We're going backwards now.
What?
We're just recapping now.
I'm recapping the four. And then we'll continue.
The Balshin.
Then we had the Baal Shem Tov's word.
The back.
Because Hashem treats you as you treat others. Kamoicha is telling you that you'll be treated, if you're nice and patient and loving with others, Hashem will be nice and patient and loving with you, even when you don't deserve. There's another little story about that. There was once a Hasidic master who used to give out a lot of charity. People would come to him, and someone came to him once, and then the people told him afterwards that the guy was a con man. He tricked you. He gave you a whole sob story, and then he took the money, he took the money, ran to the restaurant, and got himself a nice, good meal. He took advantage of your generosity, and he lied to you, basically. So the Hasidic master turns to heaven and says, Hashem, listen, sometimes please treat us the same way. Sometimes we give our money to people who don't deserve it and they don't really need it. You could also share with us your blessings when we don't always deserve it. That's how he twisted it. That's exactly the word of the Baal Shem Tov. That kamoicha means Hashem treats you like you treat others. Then we have the word of the Tzemach Tzedek, that it's telling you how. How could I love another person? They have this issue, they have that issue, they do this, they do this. It's not perfect here. It's not perfect here. They have flaws and weaknesses and mess up, right? And the answer is just like you still love yourself. How? Hopefully, right? Because you focus on your good points, and you say, "There's a lot of good things about me. I'm still likable. I'm still worthy." So the other things you minimize it. You say that was just wasn't really me. It wasn't my regular self. I was having a bad day. There's a lot of stress going on. That's why I said this, or that's why I did this. But don't define me as someone bad and unworthy because of that. So the same thing you could do with other people. You see, we're naturally going to see this in ourselves. We're programmed this way to always feel like we're good. But the truth is, it's the same thing with others. It's just unless you work on yourself, you're going to notice more the things that are not beseder, not in order. And you have to train yourself to remind yourself that this truth, that everyone has beautiful diamonds in them. Okay. And then we said, the fourth way was,
you gotta love yourself.
yes, that really healthy love. You can't really love another person unless you really love yourself. You realize your value. Then you could really accept another person, even when they have mess ups. It has to start with you. If you don't respect yourself, then you can't really. There's no value when you're even being nice to others because you're doing it for yourself really, because you want validation. That's not chesed. If you want the compliments and you want the validation, it's not chesed. You have to find a way to appreciate yourself, respect yourself, and be assertive for yourself. And then you can start talking about loving another person. Okay, we get another. Oh, so there's this one more insight here. Remember this from Rashi?
Yeah.
What does Rashi say?
He says that the generation of Mabul, they denied that which is, or the generation of the Babel, the tower, they denied that which was fundamental to Torah, and the flood, they didn't. So why were they?
Flood, right? Very good. You're saying the exact terms of Rashi. The flood, they were treated so terrible. They were wiped out, and by the Tower of Babel, which according to Rashi was rebellion against God, and yet they were treated with kids' flow. What do they call it? A slap on the wrist. It was dispersed a little bit, given some languages issues and spread around, right? They weren't wiped out. It seemed worse, right?
No, than getting wiped out.
No, I'm saying it seemed what they were doing with their crime seemed to be much worse. So what does Rashi tell you? What can you learn from the
They worked with each other.
Hashem, the Torah is giving you a message about what's important to Hashem. Hashem's like, don't worry how you treat me. I want to see how you treat other people. I can handle your disrespect and everything. What's more important to me, it's the Torah's way of giving you a message, the general story, how important it is to Hashem, how you're considerate of other people's possessions, other people's feelings, other people's pain, and so on.
Wait, to what extent does that mean? If you're in Shemona and someone needs a cup of water, should you stop Shemona to get them a cup of
So
water?
there's halachas and boundaries. If the guy is just walked in from a desert,
Nefesh.
and he has,
I'm not talking about Bukos Nefesh.
No, so okay, so there's a good story about that. It's a great story. So Shemona Esrei, I don't know, but there's a story with Reb Hanech
Mashiach.
Kugel. No, Hanech Kugel, Reb Hanech Kugel, one of the first Mashmim at Tenchet Mimim. I think it was him. He was much old. He was older. He only lived, I think, the first few months or years of Tenchet Mimim. He was a Mashpia there, and he he was once in the middle of davening. He was holding Shema or Birchas Kriya Shema, and he noticed a student came in, was walking nearby, and he had like holes in his shoes, was tattered or falling apart. So he goes over to another Anhala member. He starts like motioning. You can't talk. But he starts like showing him the shoe. We have to like do something. He somehow showed him that you got to help this. You showed him this buckle. Look what he's wearing: shoes in the winter, in the mud, in the cold, and the Shtetl Lubavitch was it still is a big this mud there. It's not like normal streets. It gets full of snow. It's really
It's really geschmack.
an experience. Anyway, they asked him afterwards. You couldn't wait. It's like in middle Bichas Kriya Shema. They asked him the next Farbrengen. They were having a talk, and they challenged the rabbi like middle of Shema. So he told them, "What do you think Yechudei love means?" Yechudei love means the supernal, higher level of unity. However, that says that the first verse of Shema, it says it's supposed to connect to this reality of Hashem's oneness, that everything is nullified to God and it's the only overwhelming reality. It's all perfect unity in God. Very high level of reality, of perspective. The whole second book of the Tanya is discussing this, and he said, "What do you think that means practically? What do you think it means? Everything you learn in Chassidus about supernal unity, everything is God. What do you think that means? That means that when you know you in the middle of Shema, you notice someone needs shoes, that you dress it. That's what it means. It doesn't mean to have some like lofty meditations and then like float somewhere out of your body and have some kind of spiritual experience. That's the holiest experience possible, the greatest connection and expression of Hashem, of being in touch with the reality of Hashem's oneness, is if you feel the concern and the sensitive to another person's need or discomfort and feelings and so on. That is supernal unity. That's what it means. That you're not like you don't feel that you merge with others and you feel for others. That's how he translated it. So that he didn't talk. There wasn't during Shemona Esrei, but he did say it about Shema. So it sort of answers your
If
question.
Shabbos Yisrael is such a big point, then shouldn't you be able to like break Shabbos for it?
There's halachas. There's halachas. That's why he didn't speak. But he addressed it.
Like, what if you see an old yid walking on Shabbos and he's not so firm and he's carrying a heavy bag and he's falling under his load? Should you help him carry it?
It's a good question. You could help. You could find within Shabbos a little bit to help him.
But there's no erev.
Right. You could hold. You could stand and talk to him about it for a few minutes, and hold and rest and hold it for. I don't know. It's a very interesting question. You gotta ask a rabbi that kind of scenario. It's very hard to imagine how you would exactly the best way to do it.
Bury his bags, take it back to your place, let him get some rest, and then take it back to the spot.
You know what you could do. You could tell you could hint a Gentile to help him carry it, and you'll tell him you'll give him a tip after Shabbos. There's ways to do it, something like that. There's ways. It's tricky, actually. Oh, we'll end off with a good. Part
Joke?
2 starts off as a good joke. We'll start from here next time. So we're gonna figure out this is the other side. He's very into loving his neighbor, so he's knocking at the sign over here. Meanwhile, on the other side of the wall, it's this neighbor like, whoa. I really like that one. Okay, let's do halacha now. Till